Hello, fellas. This might be a little bit surprising to hear, but I am indeed alive. I disappeared for a year because college applications happened and I just got accepted 4 months ago. And also, I have graduated high school now, so all is good and I am back on YouTube again. Now, you may have heard that I went to Switzerland and I was making a video on it. Well, this is it. Now, for a little bit of backstory, way back in 2023, there was this opportunity for Thai students to visit CERN, aka European Organization for Nuclear Research, which was home to the largest particle accelerator in the world. So 16-year-old me, who sure as hell didn't understand particle physics, decided that this was the opportunity for me. I went through 4 hoops of interviews and I was chosen to go. I still have no idea why they chose me, but that's besides the point. So anyway, let's dive into the shenanigans of my trip to Switzerland. Our flight was at 2:30 a.m. and we had one connection at Doha. Now, let me ask you a question. If you have a flight booked at this time, what is a reasonable time to arrive at the airport? Maybe 11 p.m. on the day before, right? Because that's 3 hours before the flight. Makes sense. I had to go there at 9 p.m., which was 5 hours before my flight. Now, I'm not really complaining here. Well, I guess I am complaining, but not really, because, well, my teachers were there to send me off, which was actually really nice of them. They even whipped out a poster that basically said, "Yay, Jean, you're going to Switzerland." But, well, I had to be at the airport 5 hours before my flight, so I am kind of complaining. And then I met up with everybody else on that same trip. We took some pictures, we checked in, we went through immigration, and then it was shopping time. I went with 2 other friends who were walking the opposite direction of where we were supposed to go, and walked we did. We walked all the way to the end of the terminal. And after all that walking, we got ourselves a nice little treat. Except it was massive, and we had to meet up with other people at 1 a.m. So we wanted to head back at midnight. But by this time, midnight was 15 minutes away, and we thought we were gonna be late, so we started running. We ended up being early. After that, we boarded the plane. I fell asleep on the first flight because it was like 2:30 a.m. and I don't have an absolutely horrible sleep schedule yet. Then we transferred to our connecting flight where I planned to get some work done. But the first thing I did after boarding that flight was fall asleep, and then once I woke up, I got distracted by the entertainment on the plane.
Wow, what a difficult question.
But in my defense, I have ADHD and I was off meds, so you can't really blame me this time. And then we landed. We made it. We made it to CERN. This is the moment that all of us had been waiting for. Everything we worked for had finally paid off. We got our visitor name tag and stepped into the gates of CERN with pride. And that was it. We were then greeted with the task of dragging our 20-kilogram luggages from the entrance to the hotel reception. Now, we had landed for like 2 hours at this point. I don't know, it's been a year. We could definitely use a nice little break after being on flights for half of the past 20 hours, because we're probably all jet lagged at this point, right? Wrong. Jet lag is for the weak. We paid to go to Switzerland, we're gonna go to Switzerland. For our first trip outside of CERN, we plan to go to Lausanne. And by we, I mean my friends, because I did not contribute whatsoever to the research of this trip. We started off our first trip by nearly missing our tram by a minute. Definitely not because I was figuring out how to get water. We arrived at the train station and had to cancel our plans for reasons that I do not remember. So instead, we decided to get dinner and went to visit Notre Dame and Lake Geneva. I have no memory of this, by the way.
Bikes. Buildings. Oh wait, you can see buildings.
During the trip, I had this genius idea that I was gonna do food reviews for every single meal that I had. But then I got lazy and didn't write down any of my reviews, so now we're just stuck with a bunch of pictures of food that I do not remember the taste of anymore. You're welcome. We had lectures to attend for the next 4 days starting from this day, so this section of the video is just gonna be a quick speedrun of the events. For day 1, I was responsible for summarizing our first lecture, and because I was not paranoid that I was gonna miss something, I did not film the entire lecture. After that was our visit to the Synchrotron and the Atlas Visitor Center, and that was all for the activities that we had planned for the day. For our second trip, we decided to go to Montreux. We rode a train which cost 64 francs to visit Geneva Lake from a different angle, and a castle that was closed an hour ago. Not our smartest financial decision, if you ask me.
Let's walk to Lausanne.
Our morning lecture got cancelled and we had planned a visit to the Science Gateway in the afternoon, so we postponed it to the next day instead. We then divided into 2 groups. My group went shopping in Geneva while the other group went to Annecy. We visited the Victorinox store where I was not planning to buy anything, but my dad asked me to buy something right when we were about to leave, so I ended up staying there for an extra hour. Then we visited a souvenir shop and a chocolate shop. And we were in a hurry, so we didn't get a lot of things because someone spent an hour and a half in a store that she wasn't planning to buy anything from. One thing that I wanted to do on this trip was try fondue because I've always wanted to know what it tasted like. So I booked a table at the best greatest fondue restaurant that I found at the time. I've seen other people try fondue before, and basically they were given a pot of cheese, bread, some meat, and sometimes fruit. However, in this restaurant, they gave us a whole pot of cheese, some bread, and nothing else. 2 slices of bread, and most of us just didn't want to eat anymore. Now, the restaurant had this policy that everyone who came had to order at least 1 full-course meal. And I think that we went wrong when we decided to order 5 portions of fondue instead of ordering something else to give ourselves some options just in case we didn't like it.
I got myself a nice little risotto.
Day 3. We visited the Science Gateway, which was this really cool museum at CERN that's free to enter. We were allowed to explore it on our own, and we learned a bunch of stuff that I do not remember anymore because the trip was last year. Then we visited a Carrefour, which was in France.
Although there is an option to go back to eat at the CERN cafeteria, I don't want to have lunch at 2 p.m., so
I ended up having lunch at 2 p.m. I don't have any footage of us on our way back from Carrefour because I was busy talking to my friends about cats. And you must forgive me because they're cats. We attended 1 more lecture in the evening and ended the day without going out. However, I did get absolutely destroyed in Uno on this exact day, and I'm still salty about it.
Alright, right now I'm in Switzerland. And now I'm in France.
We visited the data center visitor point. Look at how much data is being stored. Do you want to protect it from criminals? You could do that using a VPN. This video would probably be sponsored by someone if I had a decent upload schedule and more than 2 viewers, but it's not, which can only mean one thing. After the lecture, we went out and once again split up into 2 groups. The group that I was with planned to visit the UN Council in Geneva, so off we went. We got on the tram, got off, and panicked because some people in our group didn't get off. We decided to continue and let others meet up with us at our destination. We got on another tram, got off, then realized that we went the opposite direction of where we were supposed to go. At that point, we realized that none of us wanted to go to the UN Council, so obviously the logical thing to do was to go to Geneva Lake for the 4th time. We went on this one Ferris wheel, and if you're expecting some breathtaking, stunning shots of Lake Geneva from above, get ready for some disappointment because this is what I took because I sat on the wrong side. Okay, I'm just being dramatic. The view of the city was actually really nice. I also got a gelato on this day, which is fun. This is our free day, which means that we had no lectures and we could go wherever we wanted. Our tram was scheduled to leave at 5 a.m. The teachers told us to meet at 4:30, so I wanted to get up at 4, but I also decided to set another alarm at 3:50 just to be safe. I got up at 3:25 because I was anxious. Then we got on a train and I immediately fell asleep. Now, when we got off the train at Grindelwald, the rain was pretty bad at this point, but we stuck to our plan and were on our way to get tickets up the mountain. But then, the person at the ticket counter showed us the view from one of the cameras on the mountain, and it was all foggy. It basically looked like this one emoji. So I was like, yeah, I don't think so. And for once, I had made a good decision. So I went to a nearby coffee shop and I nearly fainted because I hadn't eaten anything since morning, but it's fine because I did get to eat a croissant. I think I would have fainted without it, so all hail croissant. Thank you, croissant, for saving my life. And then we left and visited a nearby church. So anyway, I started singing. I sang the entire time because I didn't remember the lyrics and I didn't want to butcher French and get made fun of online. Although the only people who are likely to be watching this video are people that I know, and I know like 2 people who speak French. After that, we went to have lunch at a pizzeria and then headed back to the train station. The route that we took home was slightly different and a bit of a detour, if I remember correctly, because we had come through Bern and went back to Interlaken and Lauterbrunnen. And yes, we did stop by to appreciate nature. And that marks the end of the final day of our trip. This video took me 1 year to very carefully procrastinate on making. I have made so many memories that are still valuable to me, and I know I didn't really cover this in the video, but the people on the trip were all very lovely people. I'm still in contact with some of them today, and I think that my life would be a lot different if I hadn't met them. Anyway, I did not expect this trip to have that much of an impact on me, but I'm very grateful for this opportunity to visit Switzerland and CERN. And that's all I have. See you next time. I have more shenanigans to tell you about. Bye!